Hey, we back. Welcome to Conversations with Ron and Shan. Yeah. Happy Thursday, everybody.
Yes.
So today we decided we wanted to just talk about family, and we have some personal stuff that hit hard with us that we kind of want to talk about and touch on and see what everybody else is feeling and thinking about how family division just never fails with nobody's family.
I know that a lot of families, the topic is when grandparents pass away, the dividance that it causes within families. They don't get together as much at Christmas and Thanksgivings and stuff like that. And I think that is something that is actually kind of worldwide. It's kind of structural for families, I guess is what I'm trying to say. It's something that we all kind of deal with. The older that we get, the kind of separation that families have. And I think a lot of times we lose a lot of that bonding, that relationship. Now we have family members having children and they're not knowing their older grandparents or their older aunts and uncles and cousins and stuff like that. We're having all these kids and nobody's really knowing each other because that structure that we did have is now broken. And I'm noticing that in a lot of families.
Yeah, and I tried to raise my daughter being around family. I would get in my car and take her to visit as many family members as I can so that she would not be one of those kids that wasn't known in the family, or you see them and say, oh, wow, I didn't even know you had a kid or whatever. And it just seems like now we are coming to a realization that it doesn't really matter how much you do to be involved with your family, that they will shut down on you anyway. We just recently had a situation that touched us very dearly, and it was 5 months ago, and it still actually weighs on my heart.
Yeah, it's something else because, they say you can't choose your family, and I believe that. I believe that. I know, obviously, that we don't choose our family, but I feel like there should always be some sort of bond that you have unconditionally, regardless if we are having an argument or a disagreement. I feel like there's a lot of times that we give our friends passes more so. And you kind of mentioned that to me when you asked. I was having an issue with a friend, and my mom basically was like, well, what makes you able to tolerate your friend or do more or willing to work through with your friend, or even when it comes to like a boyfriend or a girlfriend? We ain't talking about husband and wife. We talking about boyfriend and girlfriends. We take a lot of their disrespect sometimes, or maybe not their lack of affection or their lack of, and we deal with it. But then when it comes to a family member, why is it that we don't have that same kind of love and dedication and trying to work through with that relationship? We're so quick to stop talking to our sisters and our brothers, but we'll continue to talk to that man or that woman that's being not so great.
Right. Our tolerance is better for somebody that's not a actual blood family member. And sometimes a lot of people feel like, blood is not there for you, this and that, and friends are always there for you. I agree, to an extent. I have good friends in my circle, I believe, but I also thought I had good, solid family in my circle because I'm a very active person in the family. I try to spend a lot of time with my aunts and uncles or cousins or whoever. I try to be involved and be around, be seen. So we recently had a death in the family, which was my father in April. And my mother has about maybe 11 or 12 living siblings, sisters, and one uncle. So there's about maybe 13 of them. We recently felt family disappointment because my father was a wonderful person, which is her grandfather. And he left this earth and we had a memorial for him. Not one person in my mother's side came to the memorial.
And it sucks because no one called. We didn't get a lot of calls. There was some people that called, and a few people that reached out on Facebook. When I say a few, I literally mean a few. It's crazy how the support was not there.
And I think because we are a family that's always been there, my mother, myself, we have always been there for our family. We support them when they have losses, birthdays, graduations, anything. I would always make sure when I was raising Shannon,
I was right there.
Everybody going.
I didn't miss a beat. That was because my mom and my grandma and my grandpa was making sure they was extremely active in our family's lives, in everybody's. There was no favoritism. It was you graduating, we gonna be there. If we can't make it, we gonna make sure we provide for you. We'll gift you in any way that we can. The support was there, and with me being the younger generation behind my mom and my grandparents, I was there too. Just, I guess you could say by default, but I was there, and I was looking at my cousins, my aunts, and my family, and I'm feeling like could be a bond that obviously is being created because we're family. And now that I'm older, I'm like, oh.
Yeah, so with this situation happening, it's kind of like, wow, this is hurtful. And my mother, who it was my dad, her husband, she has all these sisters that hasn't even reached out to her or called her. Now, let me say that there has been, I believe, maybe three of them that has actually physically called her. And then on her side, as far as her nieces and nephews, one niece actually did come to the house to support. But when we put out the request, for the memorial, we put it out maybe 30 days ahead of time or more, whatever, maybe 30 days. For no one to show up, it was very enlightening to where family support is just, it failed us.
And I also want to play what they say devil's advocate in a situation of, I do feel like within families, I'm talking about our personal family, but I feel like it is a conversation that needs to be had within a lot of families. It's not just our particular one.
Oh, I agree.
There is a lot of unresolved type of situations that unfortunately carry over. I do feel like when we're talking about a death in the family, that should trump that. Whatever y'all going through, we should definitely be there to support one another in those times of need. Right. But I also feel like there's a lot of issues within families that weren't actually addressed, or maybe the communication is not there. It's not strong enough to be able to address certain issues. So then when we do need to be there for each other, we don't know how to be there for each other because we're hung up on animosity or anger, or we felt like she did this or he did that and that was disrespectful. So we're holding on to something, and it's clouding our vision to actually be able to be supportive for one another when we are in that need. We're quick to forget when somebody was there for you in your corner. If all you thinking about is how you mad about something, you're forgetting that how the family or whoever it was supported and rallied behind you at your time that you need. We need to get that together, just as a community. Periods. Those are things that we definitely need to need to fix.
Family issues really need to be addressed. I think it's really sad that this situation for us even came about, because it just shed a whole brand new light on support. We just needed support, and that support wasn't there. And I don't get it. I don't understand it. My mother is struggling with it a lot still, but we have to move on, obviously. But I'm sure people have these situations. So if you had them and you want to have a discussion about this or put a comment in, let us know so we can read some of the comments and see if we out here by ourselves.
Right. So let's talk about it. That's let's have that conversation.
Yeah.